All right, hey, what is up, guys? It is Metagames GX here, and I wanted to talk about the two branded fusion. Obviously, the ban list just came out, and we now have two branded fusion. The ban list will be live tomorrow, the 15th, as long as this video goes live. And I wanted to talk about the implications for branded Despia, branded Dracotal, and really just branded in general. Because you might just be like, oh, it's just one branded fusion. What does this change? And I personally think it changes everything because before we were really choke pointed into the one branded fusion and made it so we weren't opening up branded fusion. We weren't able to, deceive our opponents with our hands and make them interact with our other cards thinking we're getting to branded fusion, but we actually already had the branded fusion. That's one of the reasons why branded was kind of hard to interact with back in the day outside of having the Ash Blossom. So I do think that this brings back that dynamic, and on top of that, you're going to have just a way better grind game, right? Because you now have the second one once your first one gets banished off of the fusion duplication, and then also a lot of people are running DD Crow and Ghost Spell right now, so I think that the fact you have the second one obviously is very good for that reason, because then you can search the second one if they DD Crow it when you go Retribution with like a Luber or something like that. You have ways to play through the Crow and the Bell now, which is pretty nice. I think this makes cards like Albalinatus way better because you can now just have a target to send for the branded fusion in the crackback. And I think that actually does make cards like branded in white slightly worse, because before it felt like we needed to run branded in white because we didn't have like a second copy of branded fusion to search in the crackback, but now you do. But I still think this is a great card to make use of very little resources since it is a miracle fusion. So don't necessarily cut it yet, but it is something that now we have the ease of access, and Albalinatus already being great into rogue decks like Blue Eyes, and then it's pretty okay into Dracotal. I think that it might actually belong into our extra deck now because of that fact, because if you run things like 3 High Spirit, for instance, which I personally love in both versions of Branded as a board breaker into Yummy, and then also other decks, and then just a way to play through Fulos and Ash. This is just one of your highest value cards, and even with 2 branded fusion, I think that this card is still, it should be probably a 3 of, but obviously you could always run 1. It just depends on how you do your deck, obviously. But the fact that you have the 2 branded fusion now also means when you get negated on the Herald on your first branded fusion, well, now you can just search out the second one, right? And before you had to go through the branded retribution line in order to do that. So because branded fusion can only be activated once per turn, so if a card that negates a card says negates activation, so aka Herald, aka Baronne de Fleur, that kind of negation, you can reuse branded fusion because it was never activated if the activation was negated. Whereas branded in high spirits says you can only use this effect once per turn, so even with if it negates the activation, you can't really use it again in that case. So I do think that the 2 branded fusion does help us a lot in just, playing through hand traps, being able to surprise our opponent as well. But also I think that being able to break boards is just so much easier now with the 2 branded fusion. I do think that branded fusion was always a pretty crazy board breaker, right? Going second. And it makes the lower count builds even better too. Obviously, it makes the 60 card counts better, but now you can just hard open branded fusion going second. I can go branded fusion, and now with the Dracotal cards, or if you're just on pure branded Despia, you can, off of the Dracotal cards, you can send the Malulu plus an Albaz. You can send Pan plus an Albaz, make Titan Clad, and then just pop the whole board. I prefer the Malulu Albaz line because this at least gets you negate plus a Mirror Jade, but then also with the new Frixel, which is currently not out yet. It's going to be out in a week, so by the time you might be watching this video, it might already be out. I'm going to be subbing my Lucius in for the Frixel, but I do think that, being able to send Albaz Lucius or Albaz Frixel off of the branded fusion, then just getting to Mirror Jade without having to discard a ton of cards is very solid too for breaking the board, because then you can search out the Ketu, the Rahu, which then gets you to your Malulu and Pan and Urgula. So I do think that these cards, branded fusion being at 2 buffs the Dracotal variant, obviously, because you just get to connect to, branded fusion was the best bridge that branded has into Dracotal. So I think that, being able to, see another hard copy of that is just absolutely insane for the deck, I think. Unfortunately, we don't have cards like Verte Anaconda because in Master Duel, I think the two branded fusion meant so much because of the fact there's Verte Anaconda. So you could just use your first branded fusion, then on turn 3, once you crack your opponent's board, or to play through interruptions, you can actually just make Verte send the second branded fusion. So it's very solid in that regard because of Verte. We don't have Verte here. Hopefully, we get it at some point, but I just kind of wanted to present a lot of the reasons why it is very good at the moment that we have the two branded fusion. And I think it just makes it so branded's overall way more consistent, right? Like a lot of our time, the last couple formats since branded fusion went to one, all of our power has been choke pointed in a Luber, in Saronir and Shrouded Dragon because we have to use these cards in order to get to our I guess Cartesia. By that regard, we have to use these cards in order to really get to the branded fusion. And if any of these cards really get stopped, right, like a Luber, Cartesia kit all get stopped by an imperm, right, we don't even get to the branded fusion. We have to play on a half board. So now we're just gonna have games where we just don't have to go through these cards in order to get to branded fusion. We can now use these cards to get the branded lost, right? Like that's huge, right? Going second. We always talked about this format, how branded loss breaks a lot of boards, and even with VSK9 dead, potentially with the new ban list, I think that Yummy still gets cracked to a single branded loss, so they have to deal with it once it's on the board. If they don't, they lose the game. So is one of those things that now you can use these cards where when you already open up the branded fusion in order to go into branded lost, and to break the board. You can similarly do that with branded in white, branded in high spirits, if that's maybe the play going second. And thrust gets better in the grind game. I know this sounds a little bit weird, but because of the fact that you can use thrust in the grind game to now search your second copy of branded fusion. Before, thrust might have been dead in a little bit in a grind game if you already used your power spells. And then also, once again, because the fusion duplication, right? Because thrust is our best way to play through Ash Blossom and Fuelos, because then if we go branded fusion, make Sanctifier or Albion, and then we can go thrust if they Fuelos us, and then set the fusion duplication, and then the world's yours, right? It's full combo from there. You can lock, you can make Mirror Jade and lock, you can loop Mirror Jade a couple times, right? Just off of that, and you only give your opponent one draw, so it helps, our lines just once again playing through hand traps. And I do think that, you are really, I think I've noticed so hard that branded really changed in the fact that how you play it changed in terms of how like your choke points, right? Now your choke points get a little easier, like by 33%, right? It's still not perfect. We don't have 3 copies. I hope this means we're gonna get 3 copies, right? Like Engage went to 3. I could see branded fusion going to 3, especially if there's like more support on the horizon on the next list. Now people might be like, should we run 60? I don't think we should be running to run 60 until we get 3 branded fusion. Once there's 3 branded fusion, I think we could go back to the Pot of Desires builds with 60, and especially with Droll out of the format. And people were already asking me, should we use Pot of Desires with the 2 branded fusion? I don't think so. You can just, it's just too high likelihood of banishing both and then just ruining your grind game. But this does make the Desires build viable again, because you can go 60, run this plus 3 Desires, and then like a lot of the time you just won't be banishing both branded fusion. So maybe that's something that we can try out on stream, guys. And once again, make sure to subscribe and like if you haven't already. We are on the road to 20,000 subscribers. I very much would appreciate it, guys. We are about to hit 14,000 subscribers, so thank you all. We're about 500 off. The last couple videos have been doing very well. Everyone's excited for the new format. I am too. Thank you, Konami, for putting Branded Fusion back to 2. I'm looking forward to for bringing this deck to every event I go to this format and documenting that. Obviously, trying to get some tops under my belt. Right, I'm washed a little bit, so I need to get back into the grind game. I can win every local or like just small big tournament that we have locally, but I just can't I can't top. So, it's been a minute, so we're gonna work on that, guys. And I do appreciate everybody's support. Obviously, click the join button if you want to become a member today. Again, my members only classroom, where you get my early deck list and members only videos, and you get all the giveaways every month. We're giving away a ultimate rare branded fusion this month, so we're gonna be giving away ultimate rare branded fusion, guys. Get on the giveaways if you want to become a member, and also use your Twitch Prime if you want to get on the classroom too. Just link that all. Join the Discord too. That's where the classroom is. We have a great community. Even if you aren't a member, it's a great community to be in. So join that. And then also comment down below what you guys thought of the video. If this video gets to 100 likes, we will do a follow-up on the Frixel and Dracotal branded. We're going to do a whole video talking about that next. So if you guys want to see that, let me know. We're also going to be doing an hour of test hands once that Yu-Gi-Oh card comes out. I might do that early and like proxy it, honestly, but we'll see. So if you guys want to see that, let me know. But yeah, what do you guys think of branded this format? Will you be playing it? With that being said, love you guys. Stay safe. Have a good one.